Good afternoon, Bay Nation. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bay. I'm your host, Mike Williams, and this is my co-host here, Geoffrey.
Good afternoon, Bay Nation.
This episode is going to be the part 2 of my game previews for week 3. I'm not going to hold you too long, but I do want to give you a couple of quick, helpful hints to get you through this video. So, I know that these videos are long, so I've basically put it to where if there's a certain matchup that you want to hear about or you really want to deep dive on, you can hover your mouse at the bottom of the video and it'll tell you exactly which matchup is where. So let me know if you have any questions. I don't want to hold you too long, so let's get started.
I'm on it, sir. Here we go.
Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Denver Broncos. This game's in Denver, so we're going to start there. Drew Lock got injured last week, so Jeff Driscoll came in, and they pulled in Blake Bortles from the free agency. I'm about it. Go UCF, go Knights. You're going to not get playing time, but still, go Knights. We have Jeff Driscoll. No one starting him. Keeping it moving. Wide receivers. Courtland Sutton went down with a torn ACL. I went over that earlier this week. Extremely disappointing. He had a bright future ahead of him this year, but that's going to have to be held off till next year. I'm not starting any of the other receivers. There's a couple of receivers you can look out for. KJ Handler, solid. Jerry Jeudy, he's a rookie, but he should be okay. He was kind of dinged up. That being said, I'm not starting either of these people in the matchup. I need to see them perform before I put them in my lineup. Next, I have the running backs. Melvin Gordon. I'm about it. You can play him. Bucs have a great run defense, but I do think that he's going to get enough done in the passing game and the running game to be a solid start. Phillip Lindsay is out with a possible turf toe injury, and I think that's just going to give Melvin Gordon even more work. Next, we have the tight end. Noah Fant has been fantastic this year. He has made some amazing catches, too. He had a sideline bobble where he caught it and then toe tapped in. That was awesome. Then he had a nice touchdown in that game from Jeff Driscoll. So, I think that Jeff will be looking for Noah Fant, and he'll be a solid start this week. Next, we have the defense. I'm not starting them against the Bucs. They're going to get run all over. And the kicker is normally pretty solid. All right, let's get over to the Buccaneers. Tom Brady hasn't had one of those blow-up games yet, but I do think that those are coming. That being said, I think Tom Brady is a meh start. I don't have him in my top 12, but I do think that he has some upside. So if you're in a desperation play, you can play Brady. Next, we have the wide receiver position, and oh my goodness, Chris Godwin, I believe, will play. So we should have both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin healthy in a football game. Amazing! I am so excited about that. Goodness gracious, it has been too long. Let's go, Bucs. All right, running back possession. It seems like there's kind of a medley going on between who is going to be getting the ball. Ronald Jones was having a pretty good game last week, and then he fumbled. And when you fumble the ball, you get taken out in a Bruce Arians offense, and Leonard Fournette got put in. Also, LaShawn McCoy got in there a little bit too. It looked like a three-headed monster. Leonard Fournette had a nice long run at the end of the game that really sealed the deal for us. That being said, I'm not trusting anyone completely yet. I think that Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones are both flex plays with upside. Because if one of them gets the primary role, I think that they will succeed in that role. My worry is they'll be splitting the carries between Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, and LaShawn McCoy. Don't forget about LaShawn McCoy. His stat line didn't look great, but he almost caught a touchdown, and Brady put it right in the breadbasket. And I don't know how he drops this ball. LaShawn McCoy, come on, my man. I love LaShawn McCoy. You can't be dropping balls like that, bro. You can't do it. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. I still believe in you. This three-headed monster is going to be good for the Buccaneers. Questionable for your fantasy lineup, depending on who you start. Next, we're going to go to the tight end position. Here's another medley of receiving options that I don't know who to start. I'm not starting any of them because of it. I don't think that they'll get enough targets for one specifically to do work. So, for those who don't know, there's Cameron Brate, OJ Howard, and Rob Gronkowski. And to be fair, they're all pretty solid in general. And I'm not quite sure who's going to get the majority of the targets between the three, so I'm hands off until they decide what they're going to do with that position. Next, you can start the Bucs defense against Jeff Driscoll. I definitely think you can start the Bucs defense. We've been looking good defensively this year. I think you can fire him up. Next, we have the kicker, and Bucs kicker. I'm not starting our kicker. All right, this is a 5.5 point spread for the Bucs. I am going to have to go with the Bucs, man. Backup quarterback, injured Phillip Lindsay, no receiving core. Oh, we getting this win for sure. And by 5.5, I got it by a touchdown or more. Baby, let's go. All right, up next we have the Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers are the home team, so we're going to start off with them. Ben Roethlisberger has been playing pretty well so far this year. I definitely think you can fire him up. I love his receiving core, and his defense is going to get him into good field position. Next, we have the receiving core. I think you can start Juju Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson. I'm holding off on Chase Claypool for now. I would like to put him at the back of your bench if you have room, because I do think that he is very talented. The receiving core for the Pittsburgh Steelers look fantastic. Next, we're going to running back position. The only relevant one right now, James Conner, as long as he's healthy. And I think that you could definitely play him against this Houston defense. They don't scare me too much. I think that he should have a pretty solid game. Next, we have their tight end. I'm not starting Eric Ebron. Defense, you have to start them against Houston. Houston got dominated by the Ravens last week, and the Steelers defense is pretty much on par with them. Next, we have Crosby as a kicker. You can start the kicker for this team. Next, we have Houston Texans. So, Deshaun Watson, decisions. I have him right outside my starters. This is a terrible matchup for him. Absolutely horrific matchup. Now, he could get some stuff done with his legs. There's a chance he throws a touchdown or two, but he's probably going to have at least 2 or 3 turnovers in this game. So, account for that. I'm not saying you should bench him, and I'm not saying you should drop somebody to get him, but if you have a solid alternative, I could understand you benching him for a decent backup. Next, we have the wide receiver position. I don't want to start any of these wide receivers. I love Brandon Cooks, and I like Will Fuller when he's healthy, but like I said earlier, this defense is for real, so I'm not testing that. Next, we're going to go to the running back position. David Johnson. I love David Johnson on the year. This week against this defense, not a fan. I have him as a flex play this week. I have him in a couple of leagues, and I am benching him for one of my backup wide receivers. I'm not confident in this week. The Steelers defense is fantastic, and unless he falls to the end zone, I don't think he's going to get enough work done. I would love to see him more involved in the passing game, because I think that's where he is best utilized. If they utilize him in the passing game, there's a chance that he can have a little bit of upside, but right now I got him as a flex with upside. Next, we have the tight end position. Not starting any of them. Not starting their defense. Not starting their kicker. All right. The Steelers are 3.5 point favorites in this matchup in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. Oh, unfortunately, that would mean the Texans start off 0-3. Yikes, that is bad. Man, their offense really looks like they could use a downfield threat. If they only could have had one. DeAndre Hopkins, they traded for David Johnson. This is craziness. Anyways, that being said, the past is the past. Can't go back on it now. I think that this team will turn it around in a couple of weeks, but they have had a rough start of it. You had the championship Chiefs, then the Baltimore Ravens, And now the great defense of the Steelers, it has been a rough start, but I do think that they can turn it around moving forward. All right, Geoffrey, you got anything?
Deontay Johnson has a lot of upside for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he has been impressive. Yeah, you should watch out for him. I think that he could be a great play for the rest of this year. Deontay Johnson, I don't know if his stock has gotten high enough so far, but you can definitely go out and get him in a trade before he keeps blowing up, because I don't see him coming down from this one. I really like him this year, and if you can go get him, get him. All right, I think that's going to do it for this matchup. On to the next one. All right, in this matchup, we're going to have the Indianapolis Colts versus the New York Jets. This game is in Indianapolis, so let's go there. We're going to start off with the quarterback, Phillip Rivers. I'm not starting him, but I do like him. I think that he can have some spot start games. I don't think that this is going to be one of those games. They're going to have this game in hand early, so I'm not trying to watch them run the clock out for half the game and watch Phillip Rivers not do much. Next, we're going to go to the wide receiver position where they have an injury. Paris Campbell is going to be out for this game. T.Y. Hilton, I think, is a low-end wide receiver too. High-end flex play. He has not been playing up to par, but he has had some opportunities. He's just dropped them. Literally. He had like a 50-yard touchdown pass dropped. Unexcusable. He had that right in the breadbasket. I think that he's going to be better moving forward. I'm going to be starting him. So can you. I'm not starting any of the other pass catchers though. Next, we're going to the running back position where Jonathan Taylor is definitely a must start this week. He is going to run all over the Jets. Did you not see what happened with Raheem Mostert last week? Jets are in for a long day. All right, next, Nyheim Hines. I'm not starting Nyheim Hines. Worst came to worst, he's a flex, but I actually don't think that this is the right matchup for Hines. Hines is more of a pass-catching running back that's going to be better in negative game scripts. Indy's going to be up in this game. They're going to be running out the clock with Jonathan Taylor, not trying to get a bunch of passes to Nyheim Hines. So I think that he can sit on your bench this week. Next, we have the tight end position. If Jack Doyle is out, I think you can play Mo Alley-Cox. He was fantastic last week, over 100 yards receiving. I think that he is very tough to bring down because he's huge, and I think he's a solid play. Phillip Rivers loves the tight end, so if you're desperate at tight end, Mo Alley-Cox could be a solid fill-in. Next, we have their defense. I think their defense is going to be fine against the Jets. The Jets are not just terrible, but they're also injured. Fire up the Colts defense against them. And you can also play their kicker. Next, let's go to the New York Jets. I'm going to make this simple. I'm not starting anybody on this team. No, not Sam Darnold, not any of the wide receivers, not Frank Gore, even though he's getting 21 touches a game. That's fine. He's not producing enough for me to actually start him. I'm not starting the tight end, even though Chris Herndon was supposed to be a thing. He was supposed to be good. He's supposed to get all these targets. I'm not starting him. And not their defense or their kicker. So let's pick this game. 10.5 point spread. That's a huge spread. And I'm taking it. I don't have any faith at all in the Jets as of right now. Unless I see something, I'm not going to be changing that opinion. As of right now, the Jets are dead in the water and the Colts are on the up and up. I think that's going to do it for this one. In this matchup, we'll be going over the San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Giants. And this game is going to be played at MetLife, New York Stadium. So let's start with them. I'm not starting Daniel Jones against the 49ers. I don't think that's a good matchup. Yes, the 49ers defense is dinged up, but I still don't think that Daniel Jones is going to have a good enough outing to be in your starting lineup. Next, we're going to go to the wide receiver position where Sterling Shepard is currently injured and on the IR. Now, there's a chance they did that because they needed a spot to roster Devonta Freeman, but needless to say, they did feel like he was going to be out 3 or more weeks, so he is now on the IR. So that elevates Golden Tate and Darius Slayton. I have both of them as low-end flex plays. I think that if you need somebody, they can give you a play. I think that Golden Tate is the more consistent option, and I believe that Darius Slayton is if you're shooting for upside and need a deep touchdown. All right, next we're going to go to the running back position, where unfortunately Saquon Barkley is out. He tore his ACL, and he is going to be done for the remainder of the season. Very sad about that. Still very sad about that. Next, we have their backup running backs, Dion Lewis, Wayne Gallman, and their new free agent acquisition, Devonta Freeman. I don't think Freeman's going to get much work in this game, so I wouldn't be playing him. I do think that he does end up taking that lead role, but that's not going to happen week 1. Dion Lewis and Wayne Gallman, it's between those two in this game. I think it's up in the air. I think Dion Lewis is going to be used in the pass game, but I think Wayne Gallman is also going to be used in the pass game. So I have them more as a coin flip. I'm probably starting Wayne Gallman. I think a lot of people are going Dion Lewis because he was playing last week, but if you have Saquon Barkley, you don't need to have Wayne Gallman active. Dion Lewis is a completely different running back than Wayne Gallman. Anyways, I wouldn't be starting any of them. If you can not start them, do not start any of them because it's too up in the air. Next, we're going to go to tight end, Evan Ingram. I actually think this might be the last time you can buy low on Evan Ingram. He's going to have a tough matchup in this one and may not have a good game. I think that you can start him, but I'm big on Evan Ingram this year. He's been getting the targets, it's just not converting. They've been playing some very, very tough teams so far this year. So I think that Evan Ingram is a nice target to go after in trades right now. And even after this week, I think that the 49ers do a good job defending him. So after this, I think he's going to be great. But in this matchup, he's going to be meh. I'm still going to start him, but I'm not expecting a lot of upside. Next, we have the defense kicker. I'm not starting any of that on this team. There's no way. 49ers are too good. All right, let's move to the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy GQ, Mr. Handsome himself is going to be out in this game. I believe he has a high ankle sprain, so he's going to be out at least this week. And he's going to be replaced by Nick Mullins. We're not going to be starting him, so move out of the way. Next, we have the wide receiver position. And I'm not starting any of the wide receivers here because I don't trust any of them. Until Deebo Samuel gets back, I'm not touching the wide receivers for this team. Next, we have the running back position. And I don't know if you've gotten a message for this game, but there's a lot of injuries. Tevin Coleman is going to be out for this game with an injury, as well as Raheem Mostert. I believe they both have knee injuries, and they're both going to be out for this game. So Jerick McKinnon, the guy that they signed a couple years ago and got injured in back-to-back years, is going to be having the workload. Now, I think he's going to split time with Jeff Wilson, but I think that in a desperation play, you can start Jeff Wilson. I'm not trying to. I'm really not trying to. But Jerick McKinnon, I think, is a fantastic start this week. I really like Jerick McKinnon. I think that he's a great running back. He's just had some injury issues in the past. Now he has the opportunity to show what he has. I think he's a great start. Next, we have the tight end position. And I think that, well, to start off, I don't think George Kittle plays. If George Kittle plays, you play him. But I don't think he plays. And if George Kittle is out, you can play Jordan Reed in his stead. Yes, I know, Jordan Reed. Mike, I'm worried. He always gets injured. Yeah, well, right now, he's not injured. So you can play him. So I think that you should definitely throw him in your lineup if you have him or if you're desperate for tight end help. Next, we have the defense. Now, their defense had some major injuries. They lost two of their best defensive players, Solomon and Bosa. That being said, I still think that you could play this defense against Daniel Jones. He likes to turn the ball over. Well, I don't know if he likes to do it, but he does it all the time, so he must like it. I think you can play their defense, and you can also play their kicker. All right, time to pick this game. 4.5 point favorites are the San Francisco 49ers. This was actually a little tough for me because they're both really dinged up. They don't have their starting quarterback. They do. They don't have any good wide receivers. They don't have their best running back. I'm not really too sure about this one, but I'm going to take the better defense. The 49ers are going to give Daniel Jones a hard time, and as long as Nick Mullins doesn't turn the ball over, I think that their offense should be able to move down the field and get some scores. So I think that that's going to do it. On to the next. In this matchup, we have the Minnesota Vikings versus the Tennessee Titans. This should be an interesting one. The 2-0 Titans versus the 0-2 Minnesota Vikings. That's crazy. All right, let's get this started. So we're going to start with the home team, which are the Vikings. Kirk Cousins had an absolutely awful game last week. No touchdowns, 3 picks, horrendous. One was a tipped pass to be a pick, and actually 2 were tipped passes, and 1 was just a Hail Mary trying to get something done. You didn't really have many options. That being said, no touchdowns? Awful. You're benching Kirk Cousins if you roster Kirk Cousins, which at this point you probably shouldn't. Next, we're going to go to the wide receiver position. Adam Thielen, I think you could play Thielen in this game. I think he can be solid. You're not benching Thielen. He's a beast, even though he didn't have a very good game last week. Next, we have the running back position. Dalvin Cook. You're obviously starting Dalvin Cook. He's one of the best players in the league. Love him. Fire him up. Next, we have the tight end position. Get out of here with that. Kyle Rudolph, no thank you. Next, we have the defense. Hard pass. Kicker, pass. All right. Now we're going over to the Tennessee Titans. Starting at the top, Ryan Tannehill was playing out of his mind last week. 4 touchdowns. That's what I'm talking about. And I think that he can have a great game this week as well. I think that you should start him. He's definitely a starter for me. Next, we have the wide receiver position. I believe A.J. Brown is going to be out in this game. And if he is out, fire up Corey Davis. I know he was only 3 for 30 and a touchdown, but he did have that touchdown, and I do believe that Ryan Tannehill is going to be looking for him. Next, we have the running back position. Derrick Henry is an absolute beast. He is not broken out like he was normally, but I do think that he is set to have a good game. He's still getting the carries. I'm definitely starting him. Obviously, he's a must start every week. Next, we have the tight end position. Jonnu Smith is breaking out before your eyes. If he's still on the waiver wire, grab him. I was telling you to grab him weeks ago, but if you didn't do it then, do it now. Jonnu Smith is a beast. Love him. He's big, he's fast, and he gets the job done. And without the top receiving option, A.J. Brown, I definitely think they're going to still need to be going to him. So, after that, we got the defense. You can play the Titans defense against Minnesota. I normally don't like to play defenses against Minnesota, but they're playing terribly, so fire them up. And you can also play the kicker. Okay, this game is a 2.5 point spread for Tennessee. I gotta go with the Titans. I do. I think that Tennessee is just going to be a better offense, and their defense is playing better. I'm slightly concerned about Minnesota, but I do think that they can turn it around. I don't know if this is the week that they turn it around, but I do believe later on in the season they should be having a good game. But if they go 0-3, yikes. Not a good sign. In this matchup, we have the Dallas Cowboys versus Seattle Seahawks. In Seattle, so we're going to start with those Seahawks. Starting at the top, Russell Wilson has been playing amazing, out of his mind. 5 touchdowns last week. He is an obvious must start. Going for an MVP type of season. He is electric. Love him this week against this high-powered, high back and forth, highest over-under of the week. I believe it's 55 points. That's huge. There's a lot of scoring going to be in this game. I'm super excited about it. Next, we'll get to the wide receiver position. You can start DK Metcalf, who said, Stephon, what? Stephon Gilmore was all over him, and DK Metcalf still did work. I was very, very impressed. Next, we have Tyler Lockett, who is an auto start every week. Both DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett should be in your lineup every week. This is one of the most powerful offenses in football. If you don't know, now you know. Next, we have the running back position, and you can definitely start Chris Carson. He is an absolute beast. Now he's involved in the passing game. He had a beautiful touchdown Russell Wilson threw it right over the shoulder. Bam! Like 20, 30 yards. It's wonderful. I think his involvement in the passing game keeps him on the field. He's clearly the lead back in this offense. Love Chris Carson this week. Dallas doesn't scare me. Next, you have the tight end position. I'm not playing any of these tight ends. At least not right now. Possibly down the line, Will Disley will recover from his injury a little bit better. But right now, we're not playing any of those tight ends. Next, we have the defense. I'm not playing the defense against Dallas because right now, I don't think this defense can really stop very many people. Next, we have the kicker, and you can start their kicker. All right, now we're going over to the Dallas Cowboys. Starting at the top, Dak Prescott. What a comeback last week. Oh my gosh, that was insane. Now, was that more on Dallas coming back and taking over or the epic collapse for the Falcons? My goodness, they were up 20-0. You know, Atlanta is really making a case for this trendy be up and then lose games. They did it to the Patriots. They were up by a lot. Everybody thought they were going to win, and then epic collapse. Then this last week, they forgot that they could just jump on the ball when they kick it to them at the end of the game. What was that? The fact that the Dallas Cowboys came back from the deficit that they had, fine, whatever. But the fact that you didn't jump on the ball, there were 6 guys just standing there like, maybe we should wait until it passes 10 yards. They don't have to wait. The kicking team has to wait. Oh my gosh, it was just embarrassing. It was absolutely embarrassing. But you know what? Let me get back to this game. My bad. I'll jump off of my soapbox because apparently I'm a little heated about that. All right, so, which I got the pick right and pick them, but not to toot my own horn. Toot toot. All right, anyways, so Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott's a must start. He's an absolute beast. I think that this is going to be a high-scoring back and forth, and so does Vegas. Next, we're going to the wide receiver position. Auto start Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup hasn't performed as well so far, but I do believe this is going to be a good game for him. I think that you should be able to start him as a flex play. Previously, he wasn't even close to a flex play, but now I do think that in this game, with enough back and forth, he can be a flex play. Getting to the running back position, obviously, you're starting Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke is a beast. Ezekiel Elliott, also known as Zeke, just an FYI. Next is the tight end position. Dalton Schultz, I definitely think you can start him. He's been playing very well, and I think that he's going to be good moving forward. Next, we have the defense. I'm not playing the defense, either defense in this game because, like I said before, it's going to be high scoring. You don't want that for defense. And you can play the kicker because it's going to be a high scoring game. All right, Greg Zuerlein. All right, it's time to pick this game. Not going to lie to you. This one was very, very difficult. Who's going to win the game? I already know that one. Seattle's going to win the game. But do they win by 4.5 points? Like I said, they're going to win. But 4.5 points, I just think that the Dallas offense can do enough to lose by a field goal. All right, and I think that's going to do it. Geoffrey, do you have anything that you want to add to this?
Russell Wilson threw 5 touchdowns last week. Each one was to a different pass catcher.
Wow. That's impressive. 5 different receivers? You know, a lot of times you have one guy that you focus in on. No, not Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson just loves to make everybody happy. He reminds me of a football Oprah. And you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, and you get a touchdown. Except 5 times. 5 touchdowns? Oh my gosh, this man is extremely impressive, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Russell Wilson for MVP. Let's go. All right, I think that's going to do it for this one. On to the next one. In this matchup, we have the New England Patriots versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The 2-0 Las Vegas Raiders and the 1-1 New England Patriots. That's weird. All right, let's start off with the home team. Patriots. Cam Newton has been playing out of his mind. His throwing has been great. He looks healthy. He's been running fantastic, and they have proved they're going to use him near the goal line. So if you're in a league that plays with 4-point scoring touchdowns for passing and 6 points for rushing, Cam Newton is your man. Fire him up. Next, we have the wide receiver position. Julian Edelman had an absolutely amazing game. Julian Edelman wasn't the only one that had a great game. N'Keal Harry, as well as Bird, they both had a pretty solid game. Harry was getting a lot of targets, so I would actually watch out for putting him on your bench before he blows up. He could be pretty solid. Next, we're going to go to the running back position. The only runner you want on this team is Cam Newton, because all the other ones are afterthoughts in this offense. Cam Newton runs more than everybody else. Period. All right, next we have the tight end position. I'm not starting their tight end. You can start off the Patriots defense. I'm not afraid of Oakland for sure. You can start the kicker, but I would actually shy away from starting this kicker. He's missed a couple recently. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr is sitting on the bench. I'm not putting him up against the Patriots defense. Wide receivers, I'm not starting any of them. Ruggs is dinged up, and the other ones haven't proven anything to me. Running back position, you're starting Josh Jacobs if he plays. I know he's a little dinged up, but I do expect him to play. Next, we have the tight end position, and Darren Waller is obviously in your starting lineup if he plays. I think he's also dinged up, but I believe he's going to play, and you have to fire him up. That being said, what do the Patriots like to do? Take away your best options, and Darren Waller was getting targeted almost every time. It was insane. So I think that they take away Darren Waller and they try to limit Josh Jacobs, but I think that they're going to have to pick what they do, and one of them is going to have a solid game. All right, next we have the defense and the kicker, and I'm not starting either of those. All right, time to pick this game. 6.5-point spread for the Patriots. Let's go with the Patriots. They're going to handle this one. 1-1. I think that they handle Oakland, and I think they win by a touchdown or more. All right, Geoffrey, do you have anything you want to add on this one?
Julian Edelman had 179 yards last week. That was the most he has ever had in a game.
Wow, that is impressive. To think, he played all those years with Tom Brady. Never got that high. That is very intriguing. Good stat, Geoffrey. Cam Newton seems to be throwing dimes. All right, I think that's going to do it for this matchup. On to the next one. All right, in this matchup, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, those championship Chiefs. This game is going to be the game of the week. I am so excited. Two of the best offenses in the league. I can't wait to see them go against each other. Two of the best quarterbacks, one of the best teams. I am so excited. We could be seeing a preview of the AFC Championship. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Okay, so let's get into this. We're going to start with the Baltimore Ravens because they're the home team. We're going to start off with the quarterback position. Obviously, you're starting Lamar Jackson. He's an absolute beast. Love him. Every week he's healthy. You start him. Next, wide receiver position. We're going to start with Marquise Brown or Hollywood. I think that you can start him this week. I think that he is more of a flex play with upside because the Chiefs are actually pretty solid at guarding the downfield pass, and I think that Marquise Brown could always bust out a long one, but I would temper my expectations in this. I have him as a flex play. Next, we have the running back position. This is where it gets a little more murky. So we have three running backs that are getting some touches. We have Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus Edwards. Mark Ingram is definitely the lead back, but they have shown that they're going to mix in the other two pretty often. Gus Edwards actually had the most carries out of the running back position last week, but most of that came in junk time. J.K. Dobbins actually wasn't involved almost at all. So I'm definitely not starting Gus Edwards, but Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins, I think that you could start probably both of them. J.K. Dobbins is a flex play. I'm not too excited about starting him. He almost didn't have any touches last week, which is very concerning. But I think this is going to be a nice back and forth affair between these two, and you can't keep Mark Ingram on the field the entire time. So if you need him and you're desperate, J.K. Dobbins, but Mark Ingram I think is a solid flex play. Next, we have the tight end position. Mark Andrews is an absolute beast. You start him every week. He's going to be on fire. Not too much you need to say more about him. He's a beast. Next, we have the defense and kicker. Kicker, you start Justin Tucker every week because he's a monster. Defense, against the Chiefs, I would find somebody else if you could. I still think they're an amazing defense, and worst comes to worst, if you start them, they may get you a couple points because of maybe a turnover or a couple sacks, but I have the Chiefs putting up some points, so I would prefer not to play them. Next, let's go over to those championship Chiefs, and we're going to start with the quarterback position. So, Geoffrey, you know what that means.
Do we have to sing it, sir?
Yes, we got to sing it.
Is it really necessary?
The people love it, Geoffrey.
Are you sure? Where are your stats to back this up?
No, I'm not actually sure, but I love it. It's a lot of fun. All right, here we go. Where my homies?
Where they at? Where they at?
Where my homies?
They up to no good.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Good job, Geoffrey. Oh, I love that. All right. So, Patrick Mahomes is the beast. You're going to start him every week because he's going to be on fire like he always is. That being said, this is not the best matchup. Baltimore Ravens are very, very, very good defense. He had some troubles at the beginning of the game last week when he was playing against the Chargers, but the Chargers also have a very good defense, especially their secondary. So I think that this game could be a little tougher for Patrick Mahomes, but you're starting him because he's Patrick Mahomes. All right, next, we have the wide receiver position. Tyreek Hill, I think, is a must start every week. That being said, he was actually not playing too great last week until towards the end when he had like a 50-yard touchdown. But that's Tyreek Hill. One play can make his week every week. That's kind of how he plays. He's a speedster. I think Sammy Watkins misses this game, so I think you can upgrade Mecole Hardman. But I'm not really trying to start him if I don't have to. Like I said earlier, Baltimore's defense is fire. They're very good. So I wouldn't start him if I didn't have to. Next, we're going to go to the running back position. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it's a must start every week. Again, terrible matchup, but you're going to start him because he's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You drafted him in the first round. Next, we have the tight end position. We have the best tight end in the league for the last 4 years. Travis Kelce, you're starting him every week, obviously. Next, we have the defense. Not starting defense against the Baltimore Ravens. They are amazing. And the kicker, you can start Harrison Butker every week because he's an absolute monster. All right, time to pick this game. Ooh. This is a tough one. I love both of these offenses, but we have a negative 3.5 point spread for the Ravens. I don't like giving the points to anybody going against the Chiefs, so I'm going to have to take the Kansas City Chiefs. Championship. Until you knock them off, not picking against them like this. And I think this is a really close matchup. I'm not super confident in this one, but I think that Patrick Mahomes could keep it within a field goal. He's going to have to keep up, though, because Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are on fire. So it's going to take a little bit of work. All right, I think that's going to do it. On to the next one. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for the Week 3 game previews. Thank you for coming along on the ride. Let me know what you thought. What picks did I get right? What did I get wrong? Who am I way off about? Who am I right on with? Is there anything else that you would like me to cover? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and good luck in your Week 3 matchups. Geoffrey, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Cheerio. See you soon.
Peace.